Hello. Today I'd like to share a release around when things don't go as planned or things don't go your way. You might go back into your memory and recall an experience when things didn't quite turn out the way that you had planned. So if you would, just taking a moment to recall any time you've had this experience, and simply allowing yourself to focus on any time when things might not have turned out exactly as you planned. And just allowing yourself to notice that memory, notice that experience. And I'm going to walk you through a Sedona method technique called triple welcoming to create some more ease, some more space around this memory. So first, could you notice any feelings that arise when you recall an experience when things didn't quite turn out as planned? What did that feel like? Perhaps there was some frustration, tension, some other form of upset. So could you simply notice those feelings? As well as any thoughts connected to this experience. What thoughts were running through your head? Why did this turn out? Perhaps there was another person involved that caused things to change, caused things to be different than how you planned for them to be. So could you simply notice those thoughts? Could you allow them to be just as they are? Could you also notice the sensations in the body? Perhaps there's that feeling of restriction, holding on, when, something didn't work out the way I wanted it to. We often can feel that sense of disappointment. So how does that feeling occur in the body when things don't quite work out as you intended, as you planned? And notice, is there anything else connected to this experience? Perhaps this is a memory, something that happened some time ago, or maybe it's more recent. Whatever it might be, notice any images from that memory. Notice anything else that might be attached to that story, connected to things just don't go my way, they don't go as planned. Notice if there's anything else connected to this belief, this idea that we can plan things and they'll just turn out just as we think they should. And notice also if there's any sense of judgment around yourself or anyone else connected to this experience. And could you simply allow for it all to be just as it is? Just simply noticing this experience. Noticing what it brings up for you, what you might still be holding on to. And could you simply allow it all to be just as it is? We're simply noticing the experience. Could you welcome all of that? Could you simply allow it to be just as it is? And now could you also notice if there's any part of you that might have tried to fix or change this experience? That wanting it to be different. It didn't go my way. What could I have done different? What could somebody else have done? And could you notice if there's any wanting, this wanting to control the experience, control how things play out, control what other people might say or do? Just notice any of that wanting to control. Wanting to plan everything out, wanting it to all unfold in a certain way. And could you notice the resistance that arises when things don't turn out as planned? That wanting to push away all the feelings that arise, wanting to fix or change your response when things don't turn out as planned, as well as any attachment, any holding on. Maybe this is a pattern, something that's happened before. Perhaps there's other people in your life who behave in certain ways, and this just adds to the story of how they are. Just notice in this experience when something didn't turn out as planned, didn't go your way, any part of you that wants to push it away or hold something close because it's familiar. Maybe there's a story of things just don't turn out for me and this just affirms it. So notice how you might be holding on to the story, this belief that things just might not turn out for you. So noticing if there's anything else around this, anything else that you want to be anything different than what it simply is. And could you simply welcome, could you notice and allow that wanting for something to be different, wanting to change it, wanting to control it? Could you simply notice that? Could you be curious about it? Oh, look, there's that again. And could you just take a moment to see what's there? And allow it to be just as it is. And finally, could you also notice any way that you might be identifying with this experience? There's part of you that might be thinking, oh, I'm this person whose things just don't go my way. Notice how this feels so personal, especially with another person is involved. You know, oh, they're interfering. They're out to get me. You know, they just don't want me to succeed. You know, maybe some of those fit in to the scenario for you. Or maybe there's some sense towards yourself. I just can't get it right. No matter what I try to do, it always messes up for me. Just noticing how whatever is unfolding, whatever's happening in this experience around you, how you're taking it on. You're making it personal. You're making it about you and who you are. Could you simply notice how identifying with this experience by making it yours might cause some resistance for you, some sense of limitation? So could you simply notice how identifying with this experience that things aren't going my way can actually be a hindrance? And it's quite possibly not anything to do with who you are. Life is just simply happening. and you're flowing along with it. So could you notice any way that you might be identifying with this experience, making it personal, making it about you and who you truly are, which is far beyond this experience? So simply notice what's there and allow it to be just as it is, as best you can. And now I invite you to go beyond all of this. What if we never had this idea that things should play out a certain way, that we had this expectation? What if we simply allowed ourselves to be in this present moment? It's always unfolding. All that really exists is right here, right now. So what would it be like to operate in that way? To acknowledge the presentness of all of this. So can you imagine simply allowing the moment to unfold naturally? Could you imagine and welcome simply allowing this moment to be as it is? Could you welcome simply noticing what is happening and continuing on your way, responding to what arises in each moment? Could you imagine and welcome allowing now to be just as it is? And whatever else is here for you beyond things needing to look a certain way, play out a certain way, who would you be without that? And could you welcome that? Could you allow that possibility? Could you also notice what you're sensing now as you play with these possibilities of allowing yourself to be more in the present moment, connecting to that greater truth of who you are, this infinite being coexisting in this ever unfolding present moment. Could you sit back into the spaciousness of right now, into the ease of this moment? And could you notice how that feels in the body? Could you notice any shifting in the mind? Could you notice any sense of ease, of calm? Perhaps there's a sense of peace. And could you welcome whatever you're noticing even more? Could you notice as you simply let go, you choose to release this resistance and this wanting to control? And could you simply notice that sense of peace and calm right on the other side of any resistance? And in this moment, could you simply allow yourself to be what you are? And be what you are. And be what you are right now. So that was a simple release, one round, taking us through triple welcoming, which is one of the techniques in the Sedona method. And you can go through this as many times as you'd like to find a greater sense of ease and peace when we notice these areas in our lives where we might have resistance, might feel a sense of limitation, and simply welcoming what is. And noticing that there's really very little that's under our control. If we simply allow ourselves to just be with what is. Thank you.